Hey everyone! This video was particularly hard for me to start. I'm not really sure what it was, but I jotted down some ideas, and I couldn't quite figure out exactly what I wanted to say or how to word it, so it's been kind of a struggle, and I'm still not sure if it's going to sound good or not. Also, I'm kind of pumped up because a friend of mine saw Robert at a bar the other night and sent me a picture of him, and he looked so ridiculous. He dyed his hair jet black. He was wearing shiny leather pants with an oversized leather jacket and shiny boots, and he looked like a garbage bag, so I've been kind of laughing at his picture all day. So, as you know by now, it's no secret or mystery that a narcissist is incredibly childish, and part of being childish is being immature, being needy, being very entitled, and just generally being very selfish. And this transfers to just about every aspect of their life in their adult relationships. When you are all of these things, selfish, entitled, it shows itself as being a user, mooching off others, living a generally parasitic lifestyle, and being very dependent on your partner. The narcissist's partner, of course, is the closest person to them. They spend the most time with them, so they tend to use them the most. Narcissists basically view the world as their world, and you live in it. You exist to serve them. That's how they view people. You're not dealing with a healthy person, so if these concepts ever sound strange or confusing to you, just think about a 3-year-old. 3-year-old children are very self-centered, very selfish. They demand things. They throw tantrums. They lie to you. And they sweet-talk you. And that's what narcissists are. They are mentally 3-year-old children in adult bodies. Everyone's experience will be vastly different. So unfortunately, this isn't the type of video where I can give a whole lot of generic or general information. This video will be more anecdotal. So just take from it what you can. Robert took advantage of every person he encountered. He cultivated and maintained friendships based on what other people had to offer him. None of his friends were around simply for their company. Each friend had a purpose. And I use the term friend very loosely. One friend was the transportation, one worked at a stadium near us and would always get us cheap tickets for things. One friend worked at a restaurant, and he would bring over free pizzas when the guys would get together. Everyone served a purpose, and myself included. We were discussing friendships once, and he mentioned that he spends a lot of time with me and not enough time with his friends. I told him, I said, spend more time with your friends. He said, I don't really mind spending time with you. You help me with stuff, and I get sex out of the deal. I mean, wow. What kind of thing is that to say to your girlfriend? And on a related note, during one of the many times I was hoovered back in, I asked him why he loved me. And he said, it's because you're nice to me and you help me with things. I should have just run away, but I deluded myself into believing he was just being immature and didn't know how to express himself. He used everyone, but since I was his girlfriend and he had me under his spell, he used me the most. I was transportation, I was a cook, I cleaned. I helped him with every aspect of his life. I was also there as a constant supply source to remind him of how great he was, when he was experiencing some sort of narcissistic injury. And it felt really good. In a way, it felt really, really good because I felt useful and I felt needed. And unfortunately, he never showed any appreciation. And that's the classic narcissistic codependent dynamic. He knew that I would never say no to him, and he took advantage of that. He used me for rides all the time. I began to feel like if I didn't have a car, this guy wouldn't even be with me. And a few times I decided to test it out. So he would ask me to come over, and I decided not to drive. I took the bus, or I took my bike. And when I arrived, he seemed noticeably irritated that I didn't have my car. Clearly he wanted to go somewhere or run some type of errand and was upset that he wasn't able to. And it made me upset because I felt like I was being a bad girlfriend. It didn't even occur to me that he was treating me wrong, that he was using me. I felt like I was doing the wrong thing. He picked a rehearsal studio for his band that was right near me, and we got into a pattern of always meeting up after rehearsal. There were times when he didn't go to the studio that day, and I would ask him if we're still meeting up, and he said no. It was because I wasn't useful. I wasn't needed for a ride home, so therefore my company wasn't wanted. I began to crave his love so badly that I found myself hoping that he needed a ride somewhere, or hoping he needed some type of favor, because then I knew he would want to see me. That's a terrible way to feel. But at the time, I felt like my worth was measured by how much I could do, rather than by who I am. It felt so natural to me to be used, and to exist to help him with things. This is exactly how my mother used to treat me growing up. If she didn't need me to perform a task or to help her with something, she didn't want me around. So I tried very hard to be useful, so I could receive some type of love or attention from her. This is the very core of being codependent. Narcissistic partners will further exploit and take advantage of that quality in a person. And this is how my mother treated me. She conditioned me to feel this way, and it's all I knew. I was taught that love is measured by how much you can do, not by who you are. I will eventually go into detail on that in future videos. More on my relationship. People have told me on numerous occasions that if Robert went out with them, he never tipped. And he rarely brought enough money, and others would have to chip in for whatever he ordered. It was really embarrassing to hear that. And if he had people over to watch a game, he never offered them food. And when they would order outside food, he would never chip in. His rationale was, I'm providing the location and the TV, so you all owe me something. If he was driving somewhere with a band or with his friends, or even me, he never once offered to pay for gas or for tolls. And he was driven around an awful lot, and he never once offered to pay. So like I said before, the narcissist will be very dependent on their partner, physically and emotionally, and it's exhausting. They'll make it seem like you're the only person who could ever love them, and you're the only person who could ever understand them. They play on your emotions, they play on your sense of pity, and they manufacture a connection between you. That way they can keep on using you. When you get angry and tell them that you want to break up, they might say something along the lines of, but how can you just deny this connection we have? We're meant to be. Robert was always saying this type of stuff to me. His favorite thing was, you're going to abandon me? You're going to just give up on this? He just couldn't grasp the concept that he was mentally draining to be with. Thank you for listening to this video. I know it was a bit scattered, but like I said, I was having a very tough time coming up with material for this one. Hopefully my next video will be much better. I'm not sure what topic that will be, but whatever I decide, I will have it up in a few days. Thank you guys so much.